Welcome to H2K Infosys. H2K Infosys is a e-verify business based in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. We provide 100% job-oriented, instructor-led, face-to-face, true live online software training programs. It also includes access to cloud test lab with software tools. We provide live project for you to work on. We also provide assistance with mock interviews, resume preparation and review, and job placement assistance. H2K Infosys is trusted by so many students across the world. H2K Infosys provides world-class services in IT training with real-time project work for corporates and individuals, special IT training for MS students in the United States, software design, development, QA manual and automation, performance testing and maintenance, IT staff augmentation, job placement assistance, and tech support.
Interceptors, we always thought that if an interceptor will take the request or get it from the filter, take the request and handle it. Okay. So let me open one stuff for you. One nice thing for you. Not in lib, I will open it. I will open a struts jar. Libraries, not Tomcat, not EAR, web app libraries. Inside that we have struts. So open the struts core, and inside you will have one nice XML. So till date we were discussing this XML, but we never saw this XML. So this is struts default. So why I'm saying till date we are discussing this XML, because every time you do this, you do package extend struts default, then this is the XML you are referring to. Okay, so this is the XML you are actually referring to. So struts actually includes one struts.xml, which is struts default. Okay, I will tell you all that. Okay, struts jar can be downloaded from Apache site. It's Apache struts, right? Okay, or Maven. Now, whenever I told you like there is a struts default package, let's see where is this struts default package. Don't worry about bean. What is bean? We're gonna have an enter question. What is bean? Yeah, here you go. So this is struts default. Okay. So struts default is a package. Package name equals to struts default. Abstract equals to true. Means what? This is an abstract package. What does it mean by abstract people? You cannot create instance of it. Okay. So there will not be a direct use of struts default package, but you need to extend this. Okay. This is the same thing you do with abstract classes, right? You cannot create an instance of it, but you can extend it. Similarly, this package is abstract, okay, and it has default functionality. There are default functionality. These are all helper classes which will help you to do all struts based things, like handling this what we call it as value stack. Okay, so handling your input parameters, handling your output parameters, and how it actually travels along, how it goes in JSP, how support for your stuff families. So all these things, mapping your action classes, your results. Okay, so all these things are coming from what? Your struts default. Struts default is really a base on which you are creating. This is a framework on which you are extending your own functionality. So default functionality is given to you with the help of struts default. Okay. Now we were not discussing this. What we were discussing is interceptors. So interceptors are really. Let me go back here. I'll tell you something about interceptors. Okay. So first thing about interceptor is, always think interceptor is like a default functionality which is used by entire code. So if you do not have a default functionality for the code, do not use intercept. Okay, what I'm talking about, I will tell you. So people, every project is consists of different modules. So let's consider. Now there is a project, okay, and this project will have, let's say, multiple modules. Modules means what? So there is a module which is actually doing, let's say, credit card confirmation. Okay, there is a module which is doing business, actual business, whatever business it may be. It may be pharmacy, it may be state farm, it may be whatever you want. Okay, and third component might be, let's say, authentication component. Actually, really, we should not take authentication. That is, and third component we take it as, let's say, TB layer, so DAO. Okay, so all of these components will have some components, some sub-components common. Okay, so all of them will have a common component called as logging. Okay, so there can be a logging component. Okay, so this is logging. Also, they will have another component attached to it called as authentication. So even if you are calling DO, you will check whether the user is authenticated. Even if you are calling DAO, you will check whether user is authenticated. Of course, user will not be authenticated, then it will not reach here, but we will still have something called as authentication. Okay, we will still have something called as login. So whenever you have some components like this, okay, some components like this, what you can do is you can really separate them here, right? Instead of having them here, here, and here, you can separate it and create some functionality, and this functionality, which is common to all, okay, two main books describe this functionality as 3 C's. Okay, what is 3 C's? As cross-cutting concern. Okay, and one of the books is that cross-cutting concept. So anyway, it will be 3C. Okay, so this 3C, cross-cutting concern, can be separated from multiple components and created as a single utility. Okay, now I created a logging utility. Now whichever component is goes to, logger will log an entry and exit. Okay, these components is struts to convert that to intercept. So what you can do is you can have interceptor for logging, you can have interceptor for parameter handling, you can have interceptor for authentication, you can have interceptor for file handling, whatever you want. If the concern is cross-cutting concern, what is the cross-cutting? Multiple components of the project is using that functionality, then you can create an interceptor for that. Okay, and struts is not bound for the default interceptor. If you have your own project's cross-cutting concern, you can create your own interceptor. Okay, so that's the logic. So how this guy works? If we are creating multiple interceptors, how this guy works? So always consider request. Is a client, he is doing a request, and first thing who will face this request is interceptor. We know that now. Now we will not say XML, okay, because we know what is interceptor. Now it goes to interceptor. Let's name this interceptor as 1. But you may not have, okay, and forget about this as of now, and it goes to action. Okay, once action class returns a response, it again goes to interceptor and then goes to you. Okay, so interceptors traces input as well as output. Okay, So interceptor is doing both the actions, tracking, tracing both the action. Which action? Input and output. Okay, so you can invoke a part of interceptor when request is coming. You can invoke part of an interceptor and request is going back. Okay, now we are not limited to single interceptor. Okay, so we can have like filters, absolutely like filters. So we can have multiple interceptors, like multiple filters. Okay, so this is interceptor 1. Okay, this interceptor passes control to interceptor 2. I2. This interceptor passes control to interceptor 3. Why I am drawing this? I'll tell you. And then you have action. You have execute method and whatever you want. Now remember how they are called while coming back. Interceptor 1 gets called first, 3 gets called first while coming back, then 2, then 1, and it reaches this guy. Okay, so it also follows the same path, actually the reverse one. So but it follows this path, 1 2 3 3 2 1 goes to 5. Okay, so always remember the order of execution of request and order of execution of response is actually reverse. Okay, so this is how interceptors are arranged. Now who tells this interceptor should be first, this should be second, this should be third? Okay, so now first understand that we need to declare an interceptor. So whenever you have an interceptor, you need to have an interceptor defined. Okay, so if you are declaring an interceptor, your own interceptor and struts interceptor, struts knows about it. You do not have to declare. Whenever you are saying you are extending struts default, that means struts will get the default interceptors for you and put it in your XML. Okay, okay. So if you are defining interceptor in your XML, your own interceptor, and if you want that interceptor to be invoked in a certain order, there is something called as interceptor stack. Okay, and interceptor stack, you can add this interceptor 1, interceptor 2, interceptor 3, okay, and so on, and then you can close interceptor stack. Now this order is maintained while execution. Okay, so when stack enters here, interceptor 1 executes, then interceptor 2 executes, then interceptor 3 executes, and it comes back. Okay, now whenever you define this stack, okay, you should make sure that you should also include struts default interceptor here, otherwise that will not be executed. Okay, it's like a default construct. If you need to call it, you need to mention. Okay, so if you have your interceptor and if you are defining an interceptor stack, always mention struts default. No, who is struts default? Okay, now which interceptor is a struts default interceptor? So let's see the list of struts interceptors. Okay, so let's go in a default struts default XML and check what are the interceptors we have. Okay, so let me go down this bit. See here, interceptors. So the tag is, whenever you are defining interceptor, the tag is interceptor. Inside that you will define your interceptor, name equals to something, class equals to something. That is super easy, right? Name equals to whatever name you want, class is equal to whatever class you created. Okay, and you can define all these interceptors like this. Now once you created this, then you will create an interceptor stack and you can give a name to interceptor stack. Okay, inside that you will have interceptor reference and this reference's name matches your interceptor name. Okay, so you define an interceptor, and inside that, inside stack, you will refer them. Okay, now in interceptor reference, you can either give interceptor name, or you can also give interceptor stack name. That is also possible. Okay, so if I created interceptor stack called as basic stack, if I want all these interceptors again, I will not define them again. I will just include a reference of basic stack. There is the example for that just below. See here, validation workflow stack, and it gives interceptor reference name basic stack. Okay, so by default all these interceptors are included, plus you got two of them new. Okay, so similarly it ends up in all the interceptor mechanism. You can see finally you have something called as default stack. Okay, so default stack is a stack of all available interceptors. Okay, and whenever you add a new interceptor, I told you that whenever you add a new interceptor, you just add your own interceptor in stack, interceptor stack. Okay, add your own here, and then add default. So default will give you default functionality, and your interceptor gives your functionality. Okay, and remember, if you mention in this order, your will run first, default will run second. Okay, and then default will follow his own order. But if you are mentioning in the reverse order, then this will run first and this will run second. Okay, so order of mentioning these interceptor references actually the order of execution. So remember that will be your interview question. Okay, so always remember this in interview stack. Interceptor stack, whenever I am mentioning that order is mentioned. Okay, what's the functionality of the default? Default functionality is give you all the default functionality of the framework. Okay, just like getting the parameters. You can see that. You can see validation. You check about validation. Okay, model driven. We use model driven. Okay, it gives you that functionality. Okay, it's not mandatory. It's default given to you. Okay, it's given by default. It's not only mandatory, it's already given. So that's what the use of framework is. The default stack is a structs framework. You can actually tell that, because that's why you are getting functionalities of structs, static parameters. Okay, action mapping parameters. See that is the mapping parameters, which is using your value stack for mapping your parameters from action class to JSP. So these are functionalities already developed because they are cross-cutting functionalities. They are spread across all the action classes going to use that. So that's why they created interceptor. Okay. So now what we will do is we will create an interceptor. Okay, and we will actually define our own interceptor stack and we will execute it. Okay, so let's do that. Why to wait? Okay, so before that you have a material. You have all the hierarchy and everything in here. Okay, you can just check how that interceptor gets involved. So before going through these diagrams, this procedure is a little bit confusing. I will show you very easy way. Okay, it actually creates a login interceptor. Let's create that interceptor. It's really easy and it's understanding also. What is a cross-cutting functionality we can use. Okay, so let's create an interceptor. Create a package for it. Oops, I don't know. Okay, and I'll also create a class. as login. Okay. So to create interceptor, we need to extend something. And what is that something? We'll get it for you. Extends or implement are really yep. Okay. And this has 3 methods. Okay. And I don't have to tell you what is in and what is the what is destroy. Do I? No, right? I know you guys know now. What is in it? Initialization. What is destroy? Destruction. Okay. So there is a method called intercept. Okay. This intercept method has 3 parts. Okay. And it's very important that how we should write this. Okay. So let's try it. There are 3 parts here. Part 1. This executes before action invocation. Okay. And part 3, I'll tell you what is part 1. Executes after action.
So many of our students have given testimonials on how our training programs are. You will find them on kudzu.com and on our website h2kinfosys.com. On our website h2kinfosys.com, you will also find more detailed information on who we are, the courses that we offer, what each course covers. Also, if you're interested in a demo program, please register on our homepage on the left-hand side. Just give us more information about yourself and we will send you a link for a demo class. The demo class is absolutely free. Experience our commitment by just attending an orientation workshop at no cost. Our team of faculty and advisors are here to guide you with the right information. If you still have more questions, please feel free to call us. Call us at 770-777-1269. This is a United States number. If you're calling from the UK, call us at 020-337-17615. You can also email us at training@h2kinfosys.com or h2kinfosys@gmail.com. Thank you for watching our videos. We wish you a great career in information technology.